Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And this morning's conversation is about embracing the unknown and allowing it to be a process of discovery, ongoing discovery, rather than a process that's trying to corral it into the known. So it should be an interesting conversation. And before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together and vigorously rub your hands together. Feel the tingling, the tickling, the heat, the pressure, the friction, all those sensations, and allow them to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to be here with you. Welcome, Rosalind. Wonderful to start the day with you. And we're talking about embracing uncertainty, or the unknown, rather. And this sort of stems from a conversation that we had last night on Sustainability Now with Carol Sanford that we entitled Disrupting Certainty. And it's been a very thought-provoking topic because we like to have at least the illusion of predictability in our lives. We like to have to believe that things are just that we can control things, and that things are going to unfold in a particular way. And as far as embracing the unknown, I think that it's something that many of us do in a much more effective and rewarding way. For instance, when we travel, because we're in an exploration and discovery mode, and there's a vitality about that. There's an aliveness to that, that sense of what's next, what's going to happen next. It's like being on a wonderful adventure. And then when we get into our own lives, we kind of try in many ways to push that adventure away, and we get, whether consciously or not, and we get enmeshed in the day-to-day predictable obligations, responsibilities, productivity, the doingness of life in so many ways. And when we're traveling, there's typically, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, there's typically a greater openness to experience. And as a result, all kinds of magic can happen. There's tremendous, for me anyway, there's tremendous wonder. Good morning. Good morning. Is that Dido or Sue? Wonderful to see either or both of you. Welcome, welcome. It's great to be here with you and have you here with us. So we're talking, yay, Dido. Hi, sweetie. So good to be here with you. So when we were talking about embracing the unknown, and travel sort of sets a context for that, where it is about discovery, it is about exploration, it is about all the weird and wildness that can emerge in unfamiliar circumstances. And then when we get into the familiar, it seems sometimes that the uncertainty or the unknown becomes more of a threat, I want to say, in a way. Is like the more fear inducing for many of us. So rather than exploring and engaging in the level of discovery and adventure that we might when we're travel mode, we try to close the perimeters, so to speak, so that we have a sense of control. Good morning, Robin. Great to have you here with us. Welcome. So we're talking about embracing the unknown, and what we're talking about is the unknown, not just like in terms of unknown places and spaces, but physically or otherwise, but also the unknown in relationship, like when you're getting to know new people and feeling out the boundaries and feeling out the responses and finding the edges in a relationship, for instance. That's an interesting place of the unknown, right? And how do we embrace that with grace? I think it's interesting. On this trip that I just came back from, there were almost 30 of us, and from all different backgrounds. And it was so interesting because it was an extremely eclectic group. And at the same time, we had a lot of commonality because here we are, we're all crazy people going to build an aircrete dome. So, we had that interest in common. I love that, Robin. Robin says the innocence of intent. Yes. So when we approach life, whether it's in relationship or in our spiritual journeys or in our day-to-day activities, when we approach life with the innocence of the child, with the open hand, with curiosity and delight, there's so much that can open to us that is unavailable when we are living in expectation of certain predictabilities. And I think that there's an aliveness to this sense of discovery if we can maintain it through most of our time, in whatever our circumstances are. If we can put a pin in and keep in the experience of wonder, discovery, curiosity, there's a richness that it can bring to life. And to this conversation about disrupting certainty, the intention of disrupting certainty is to wake us up, to shake us out of our mechanistic way of being, because when we fall into routine, we tend to be robotic. We tend to not be present. We tend to not be thinking. As Carol Sanford said, we tend instead to be thoughting. In other words, repeating the thoughts that have been played to us or that we have been replaying over and over and over again. So we have these mechanistic, perpetual kinds of programs that run. And the notion of disrupting certainty is to wake up, to shake yourself into an awakeness, aliveness, and presence. And there's magic in that, in feeling the next steps. You know, it's almost like when you're on a rough terrain, you don't just run ahead necessarily. You kind of feel your steps in a very different way. And I think that what we want to do is to find ways to enhance our vitality, our sense of aliveness and engagement and presence. And at least that's something that I aspire to, is to be more actively and joyfully engaged in life. So Rosalind says, instead of living paycheck to paycheck, waiting for the next vacation, so disrupting certainty can open that same wonder people look for in vacations. Why not? Why not? Right. I love this thought, Rosalind, you know, that we go on vacation to get away, right? We go on vacation for an experience of discovery or relaxation or some kind of contrast, I'm presuming, from our daily lives. And if indeed we were able to disrupt the certainty, to disrupt the monotony, the programmed pattern of our daily lives, then perhaps we might more richly experience our daily lives, so that we didn't feel like we have to get away necessarily. You know, that that we can craft our lives to support actually living, rather than to support our routines or our efficiencies. So one of the things that Carol Sanford talks about is essence. And this is part of regenerative design, is recognizing, identifying our unique essence and expressing that essence. And this is also something that we talk about when we talk about purpose, right? When you are in expression of your uniqueness, your essential nature, there is a deep vitality that that accompanies that there's an alignment, a sense of being in the flow, a sense of authenticity, a sense of self-expression that is your vitality when you are in line with who you are and are in expression of that essence. So if you look at the things in your life that you do that you find joy in, I'm wondering if maybe you find also a sense of discovery, like a sense of newness, a sense of immersion, a sense of fascination, and maybe even an exuberance in your experience of those pursuits. You know, when you're doing something you love, there's this deep engagement, right? There's this aliveness, and maybe there's curiosity, maybe there's that wonderful sense of awe and the newness of being able to see something that you haven't seen before. And this is something we can practice, embracing the unknown. We can practice in the simplest things. And I know I've used this example with you before, but like to take something that is mundane, something that is part of your mundane existence, like a pen. Usually what we do with the pen is we write. And so we often don't see the pen. We're not present to, and if we do see it, we're present to it for its function as a pen, right? Rather than looking at this thing as something that is unfamiliar and starting to really be absorbed into the discovery of it. Like in this is an interesting pen. It has an unusual tip. It has all this detailing, and to be able to look at the shapes. So one of the tricks in learning how to draw, this was something that was so powerful for me when I was exposed to it. One of the tricks in learning how to draw well is not to be trying to draw what you see, but to be trying to draw the empty spaces. And that's an interesting thing, because when we look at a pen or a bottle or a person or any kind of anything, when we look at it, we see our interpretation of it. When we start looking at the empty spaces is an unfamiliar place. It's the unknown that we don't have a preconception about. So we have greater access to it because we're not confined by our interpretation. It's a new way of seeing. Another way to, for instance, copy an image. This was from The Artist's Way, I believe, which is a fabulous book. And it's not just about art, it's about perception in so many ways, but is to turn something upside down. And when you turn it upside down, you start seeing shapes instead of the thing. And you start perceiving in a very different way that enables you to see what's there more clearly, which is really fascinating, that by kind of disrupting our conventional way of seeing, we actually can see with greater accuracy. We can perceive what's there with greater accuracy, which goes back to disrupting uncertainty and embracing the unknown. Rubin says, seek your highest guide or universe. Ask the Lord, your angels or universe, to go before you, prepare your way, so you are a blessing to someone today. That's beautiful, Rubin. Thank you for that. And, that also, like we're talking about disrupting certainty. If we take what you've spoken there to create a context to that, perhaps we can legitimately prepare our way to be a blessing. And then it's a matter of discovery. So rather than making that a goal, like I'm going to go and be a blessing to somebody today, if we have it be an intention that may I walk as a blessing to others, may I, and have that intention, and that the grace that goes with intention, then we can allow the unfolding of it with a sense of wonder, perhaps, into this unknown. Like, wow, what will that be? What might that present? And to be able to have fun with it. And there's a lightness and a light that comes with the openness of discovery. And even in the face of fear. So before I went on this trip, I was very excited about it. And I also was very nervous about it on certain level. And so there was some anxiety, there was some fear, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I'd be prepared. I didn't know what it was going to be or how I would function within it. And so there were all these, I guess I could say, insecurity driven questions. And there was also the excitement of something new and you longed for, in a way, like just something that I was so attracted to that it overpowered any fear that was there. To say, yeah, of course I'm doing this. I'm excited and I'm scared. And there's that whole, it's a mixture that is also in itself very enlivening. Rosalind says, have you ever sat on a park bench and wondered what would come about that if it was done around? I don't understand what you're saying, Rosalind. Could you say it again? It may be in a little different way. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying, but if we were to sit on a park bench and see the world anew, what might we see? I mean, there is just such wonder. So, for instance, I was walking down a street in San Juan with friends, and I just was so enthralled. The cobbles on the street were, I think they were bricks that were glazed with some kind of blue color, some kind of opalescent blue. It was just the most remarkable thing to be seeing this blue street. It was beautiful. And I don't think anybody else noticed it until I pointed it out. But there's always something that is wondrous that's available to us when we don't just think of a street as a street. Like when we're looking at the grain of the wood in the floor, or when we're feeling the variation of temperature in the breeze. There's always something that is unknown that we can discover that awakens us and can move us past the fear into wonder, perhaps. So Robin says, smiles are contagious. Simply share something of positive intent. You went beyond your comfort zone. Thank you, Robin. Yes. Well, I think, you know what? That's what I think this is all about, is going beyond our comfort zone. And on the other side of that, there can be incredible bliss and joy and enrichment and fulfillment. And I mean, even in the simplest things, like looking in the grass, sometimes I find these tiniest little flowers that have the most remarkable detail. Like I found these itty bitty teeny tiny flowers that look like the shapes of orchids, or finding bugs that have stripes on their legs and, like watching how their antenna move. I mean, there is just so much wonder to be had when we do embrace the unknown, meaning we don't assume that we know, like, oh, it's a bug, smash it or something, or rather than, oh, what is this? What is this? And not needing to put a label on it, but looking at the elements of what it is in a query, in a discovery. And I think, so Robin says, seeing the color in the brick, 100%, 100%. There is so much to see and experience. And the truth of it is that it is all unknown. And it's in our knowingness, in our certainty, that we become stagnant. And that may or may not be true. Test it out, see if that's true for you. It's like, if I know you, then I have bounded you. I have limited you. And I have denied you, because you are not a static being. None of us are static beings. And what we often do is we put labels on things so that we can dispense with them, so that we can go on to the next thing. And when we expand our experience, when we expand our willingness to experience, then we have greater access to absolute wonder and awe. So Robin says, embrace your path. Watch for the little things that are able to see. 100%. We call them little things. Able to be seen, Robin says. Yes. So we call them little things, but they are the essence of the universe. So Rosalind says, when I sat in the park, I noticed there was a stray dog. It didn't appear to belong to anyone. Someone on the street said he was running around the park for a while. I ended up taking the dog to a vet, and his chip was scanned. They took the dog in for the night. When I called the next morning, all they could tell me was the dog was reunited with a good Samaritan. So you did a beautiful thing, Rosalind. It sounds like, I'm not sure if it was, when you say reunited, I'm guessing that it meant that the dog was reunited with its owner or its person. And anyway, that's a beautiful thing. So when you were present, you allowed yourself to notice this dog, and you took action. You moved into the unknown and had an adventure. Good for you. Anyway, it is such a joy to be with y'all. I have to say, I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I invite you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network and Enlightened World Living. And Rosalind says, all from sitting on a park bench. Yes, you had this remarkable adventure. And Rosalind says, TGIF. And Dido, thank you for the plug for more of our Core Connection shows. And until next time, I wish you all a wonderful weekend. And I hope to see you again here really, really soon. Until then.